Alright fellas, we just saw the return of Manny Pacquiao to professional boxing for the first time in over 4 years, fighting the WBC belt holder in Mario Barrios. Now this return was met with great anticipation, yet also great skepticism. Pacquiao returned at 46 years of age, and his last few performances, he hasn't looked that great. So after recent comeback sort of disgraces to the sport, the question was, would this be a disaster like the others, or would Pacquiao truly turn back the clock? Yet thankfully in this fight Pacquiao proved why he is a true one-of-one great. So we need to break down all that just happened in the bout, the controversy, and what could be next for the pair. But just quickly, if you don't know, my name is Cloister and I make boxing videos to help keep you informed, so make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, on our bingo cards for what could happen in boxing in the big year of 2025, Pacquiao making a return for the shot at a world title definitely caught a lot of us off guard. Although there were many reasons to be excited, there's only been a couple times in boxing history where a champ has returned like this and achieved true success. And with Pacquiao having previously a number of issues and having racked up significant punishment throughout the years, there was due cause to be concerned. Yet this concern couldn't and wouldn't override the love that people have for Pacquiao. The noise on the broadcast in the arena seemed incredible. He's truly a man of the people, and the crowd at the arena absolutely showed it as he was walking out. As the fight kicked off, Manny Pacquiao immediately set the pace, starting in and out with sharp jabs and combinations that thrilled the crowd. Although Mario Barrios was cautious early, he did land some clean counters and began to use his height and reach to try keep Pacquiao at bay. But still, Pacquiao's activity and speed won him these early rounds, as he consistently outthrew and outlanded the younger fighter. He certainly didn't look his age, but Barrios seemed almost too respectful, and this would continue to haunt him through the fight. As the middle rounds unfolded, Barrios did grow more comfortable. He started to use his jab a lot better and started to time Pacquiao with counters. Pacquiao, however, continued to turn back the clock and wow the crowd with quick flurries and sharp left hands, showing impressive stamina and reflexes for a 46-year-old. While Barrios remained technically disciplined, he struggled to match Pacquiao's volume and intensity. Heading into the final rounds, Barrios did have his best success, especially in the 11th, landing his best shots and pushing Pacquiao backwards for the first time in the fight. He finally seemed to respond to the urgency of the moment. He was too respectful for too long and he actually decided to fight. He wasn't throwing combinations for most of the fight or trying to push Pacquiao back, and the second he did, what a surprise, he actually found success. And I understand wanting to be respectful to the veteran, but I just couldn't wrap my head around how Barrios was fighting. Barrios did close strong enough, with good body work and a late round rally, but throughout the fight he had largely allowed Pacquiao to dictate the pace. In the end, while Barrios had his moments, Pacquiao should have done enough to win the fight. Although unexpectedly it ended up a draw, with Barrios being up on one card and the other two seeing it 114-114. The term robbery does get thrown around a lot. I think this sort of was a borderline robbery. I had Pacquiao up a couple rounds, and Barrios, he truly needed those last 3 rounds to win. And do I think he won them all? Well, that's a bit debatable. It was certainly a close fight, but from what I've seen, not many scored it in favour of Barrios. Let me know what you think down below. Do you reckon it was a robbery? What were your scorecards? I reckon regardless of the score, it is a bit of a moral victory for Pacquiao. To come back at 46, 4 years out of the professional ring and put on a decent performance against the WBC World Champion is a huge win, and will be talked about for years to come. But of course the question now turns to, what's next? I think Pacquiao did look good in this fight, but if we're being honest, I don't think he should be really competing at the world level. They chose Barrios for a reason. He was easily the weakest champion in the division. Not a cherry pick, but kinda close. And I don't think Pacquiao tonight faced a world champion level opponent. Barrios was just too respectful. Half the time he wasn't throwing, until late in the fight he didn't let anything more than 2 punches go at a time. He let Manny continue time and time again to come in with his hands down, and the second he threw anything half decent, he just stopped. And the only way I could really describe his performance is horrific. He didn't do anything that he should have. He didn't perform close to a world title level, and plainly he didn't even listen to his corner. So Manny did verse the worst version of Barrios we might have ever seen. And although his performance was commendable, he still didn't get the win. And he said in the post-fight interview that he wants to continue to box after this. The question is, where does he go now? The obvious answer to me is if he's going to take another fight, he should go after Barrios again. I think Barrios would perform better next time, but honestly it's Pacquiao's best shot at a belt. I think it would be an incredibly tough watch to see him go after any of the other champions, or even contenders. Imagine him against a fighter like Brian Norman Jr. Unless they treat the bout like an exhibition, it would be a tough watch. And if Pacquiao fights again, it's going to be against a big name. If it isn't against Barrios, expect a Rolly or a Ryan or even potentially a Conor Benn if the Eubank rematch falls through. I genuinely couldn't think of much worse or a worse style matchup than to see a pressure heavy big puncher like Benn go against this version of Pacquiao. Honestly, I just hope to see him retire again. Although for some reason I think that's pretty unlikely. I just hope it's Barrios next and not a horrific style matchup which would just be ugly to watch. And I just hope Jake Paul isn't there somewhere rubbing his hands and licking his lips thinking, oh, this is my next opponent. Although it would be more respectable than some of his other opponent choices, I just don't want to see that. I just hope the Joshua Paul fight comes true, as apparently talks are happening next week, so hopefully that comes through and we see Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul instead of, say, a Pacquiao. I hate that he's slipping into every video, but he is somewhat relevant. But anyway, back on the topic, I think Barrios for now has to go back and really reconsider a lot of things. Most importantly, where it all went wrong, because the whole division is going to be now looking at him like food. If Pacquiao doesn't end up going with a rematch, the rest of the division is going to want to match up with him next. Why? Because it's an easy belt for any of the elite contenders. You're going to have half the division lining up to fight him. If Manny doesn't take that belt off Barrios next, somebody else is gonna. They're all gonna be lining up. Yeah, overall, I think this event went about as good as it could have for Manny. Honestly, it was a bit of a trip seeing Manny and Freddie Roach together in the big year of 2025 competing for a world title. And it was nice that it didn't go the way that other recent comebacks have. But I think Manny won the hearts of the people, and it was an absolute moral victory for him, even if he didn't win. He's truly a one-of-one great. But now, I want to hear your thoughts on the fight, your scorecards, what do you think is next for the both of them? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, it really does a ton to help the channel. Yeah, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.